What's going on, fight fans? This is Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Rob Jarrell, and this is my preview to this weekend's 135-pound title tilt featuring Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko against Cool Hand Luke Campbell out of the UK. And on the undercard, we have Alexander Povetkin versus Hughie Fury. I'm going to start off with the heavyweight matchup with Alexander Povetkin versus Hughie Fury, which is an interesting bout. This should be an eliminator for Povetkin to get one of the champions, whether it be the winner of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz or Deontay Wilder, or even a matchup against Fury's cousin, Tyson Fury. This fight is kind of interesting because these are two guys that are both skilled, but Alexander Povetkin has seen the best competition that you can see in the heavyweight division over the last few years. We know in his last fight, he suffered a 7-round knockout loss to Anthony Joshua, in which he made a good account of himself. But you could tell that he had a trouble against a guy as skilled and as powerful as Anthony Joshua, but he did have his moments. Versus a guy in Hughie Fury who is big, but we know Povetkin has faced plenty of big guys. Again, he has two losses, and that was to Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua, two guys that are about 6'6", 6'7", 240 or more pounds. Hughie Fury is going to come in about that size, but really doesn't have, to me, the pedigree. He does have great skill, but he's not quite Tyson Fury. He likes to move around the ring like Fury, but he doesn't have that moxie to throw as many punches. He doesn't really cut the same angles as Tyson, and he really doesn't fight on the inside as well as Tyson Fury. And you got a guy like Povetkin who likes to get inside. And let's be honest, Povetkin, for all his troubles with PEDs, is one of the better fighters in the division, one of the most accomplished fighters in the division, and is a former champion. He's seen a who's who in the division, not named Wilder or Tyson Fury. And he's beaten guys that he's had to beat. He is a very good boxer. He does have a lot of pop. He knocked out another tall British guy whose name I can never remember. You guys will probably tell me it wasn't even that great of a fight. But again, it's a tall, lumbering guy that he faced to prepare him for this fight. And it's going to be interesting because Fury fights best on the outside. He likes to use his height to stay away from his opponents, especially guys who like to provide any kind of pressures and get on the inside. And he does a good job of putting that jab out there and going to the body. But he can be pushed against the ropes and does have to, I'm not going to say wear himself out, but really has to work out of the ropes and out of the clinch to not take any punishment. But he does do a good job of bouncing on the ropes and throwing a good counter right hand to his opponent. He did that well versus, I'm sorry, my memory is very bad, but he's done it in past heavyweight fights. He's lost to Kubrat Pulev, which is not a bad loss, but it was one that I think he was more expected to win. And my guy from New Zealand, whose name I can never remember. I'm sorry that I can't remember their name. I'm having a brain fart right now. But on to the fight. What I don't like is he can be hit with that right hand, and you can work inside against Hughie Fury. Povetkin does a very good job of showing to each side and kind of throwing punches off the angles. He loves to throw that lead overhand right by showing right, showing left, staying left, and throwing it over the top. He can also counter over the right very well. He's also not going to throw one punch at a time. What he likes to do, he likes to get on the inside. He likes to show a variety of punches from going side to side, but he likes to either show to the left, go to the body, then come up top, or show to the left, go up top, and work the body. He has a good jab, but not one that he's going to be able to utilize against a guy like Hughie Fury. Hughie Fury is going to use his jab. He's going to shoot it from the hip and try to come over the top with the right hand. I think what he needs to do is throw the jab and throw the hook off the jab and open Povetkin up, because while he does have good defense, he can be jabbed down the middle and you can throw against it around his high guard. He's going to have to use that high guard against a guy who's so much taller than him. Um, he did that versus Joshua. He did that versus Klitschko. He did that versus his last opponent. I'm sorry, like I said, the name just escapes me. But he was able to get the knockout in seventh rounds, in about 7 rounds, I believe, as well. So I'm really looking for a healthy, non-PED Riddle Povetkin to take this fight. I don't think he's going to knock out Fury, because I think Fury has enough defensive skill to not get hit with anything super clean, but just enough for him to lose. Let's move on to the main event. We got Vasily Lomachenko cruising through the divisions. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he started off at 126. He got a belt at 130. He's at 135 now. I can see him going up to 140, but that may be his ceiling. But we know he's right now one of the top two. He might be the top pound for pound fighter, up there with Terrence Crawford. He's fighting a guy in Luke Campbell who, again, is skilled. He is an Olympic gold medalist. I believe both of them won a gold medal in the 2012 London Olympics, with Luke Campbell winning one for his country. But he hasn't had the greatest career so far. He's had 2 losses. One he avenged. That was versus Yvan Mendy out of France. The first fight was a split decision. I believe he got the decision in the second fight. And then he lost to Jorge Linares, which is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, at 135, Linares is one of the best fighters in the world. A guy that's hyper skilled offensively, but can be lackadaisical defensively. He showed very good defensive prowess against Luke Campbell and even knocked him down, but Luke Campbell was always able to stay in the fight. But he still has little too much of an amateur style. He can work on the outside, but he has little to no head movement and likes to get a high guard. That is not what you want to do against Vasily Lomachenko. That guy, if you let him get off, he's going to get off to a certain point where it's almost going to look like target practice. Campbell is durable, but he has been knocked down before. And I can see him being knocked down versus Lomachenko. What he needs to do, he really needs to use his height and length advantage versus Lomachenko. He can't drop his hands. He can't leave himself open with them long hooks that he likes to throw. But what he can do as a lefty is use that length, try to keep him at bay and deliver that left hand, which is going to be tough because Vasily Lomachenko has excellent reflexes. He has excellent power, and he's very fluid. I see him getting inside and do that patented step through and coming back with the left hand. I mean, it's almost like he's dancing in there. He was knocked down versus Linares, and really the only time he's ever shown any kind of vulnerability is a guy who was as dynamic as Jorge Linares, who was able to knock him down and last before Vasily Lomachenko stepped on the gas and really showed him why you have to be very responsible defensively against Lomachenko. Right now, I think the only way to beat him is how Orlando Salido did, and that's really just trying to beat him up physically, staying in his chest, hitting him anywhere and everywhere. I don't know if Luke Campbell can do that. He's got to deliver from the outside. The last thing I want is Vasily Lomachenko from mid to close range, because once he gets inside, he keeps his defense tight and he throws from very sharp angles against all of his opponents. Luke Campbell has good footwork, but he's not really fast. He's not quick, but he does have good timing, and he does increase his timing over the course of fights. Again, I'm just not sure how that's going to look against a guy like Lomachenko, who is as dynamic and skilled as he is. Luke Campbell is going to have to get lucky. He has to deliver all his punches from the outside, and he has to not get caught up in trading or letting Vasily Lomachenko get off in that high guard. That's the worst thing that can happen to him. I know I said that before, but if this guy's not going to stop punching, he can go anywhere from 70 to 100 punches around if you let him. That ain't what Luke Campbell wants. And he's not going to be able to make a miss, so he's got to either throw in between his punches, beat him to the punch, or just use that length and make sure he never gets to him and deliver his own counter shots. I'm taking Vasily Lomachenko late by knockout or at least a stoppage, just because it's almost going to be target practice. And Luke Campbell tends to step up to the challenges, but unfortunately, he steps up but never overcomes. Yeah, I got to go with Lomachenko late finish. I could be wrong. I'm going to say 9 to 10 rounds. If it goes to decision, I will be surprised. So tell us what you think. The fight's going to be on ESPN Plus. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think Povetkin is going to take it, or you think Fury's going to take it? Do you think Lomachenko is going to continue his hot streak, or will Luke Campbell be ready for the upset? Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Be respectful to us. Be respectful to yourselves. Like this video. Share this video. Subscribe to the page. And until next time, fight on.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming.